For years, my rural property had been my sanctuary. It sat on the edge of a quiet neighborhood that had recently fallen under the grip of a homeowners association. My land wasn't part of their HOA, and I liked it that way. No rules about mailbox colors, no endless fees, no nosy board members trying to tell me how to live my life. It was just my house, my land, and my peace. Unfortunately, that peace was shattered when the HOA, led by none other than Linda Harper, a classic Karen, if there ever was one, started expanding their influence. Linda had a reputation for being controlling and entitled. She believed the HOA's authority extended beyond its actual boundaries and treated anyone who disagreed like a personal enemy. The issue began when Linda decided to take a shortcut through my property. There was a narrow dirt road running along my back pasture that led directly to the neighborhood's main entrance. For years, it had been completely private and gated, used only by me for moving equipment and hauling supplies. But Linda, with her shiny new luxury SUV, decided that going around the block was simply too inconvenient. The first time I found the gate open and tire tracks cutting across my field, I thought maybe it was a mistake. I repaired the gate, put up a clear, private property, and no trespassing sign, and moved on. 2 days later, the gate was open again. Fresh tracks. I knew then it wasn't an accident. I installed a trail camera near the gate, and sure enough, there she was, Linda, barreling through in her SUV like she owned the place. I confronted her the next day, calm but firm. "Linda," I said, showing her the photos, "this is private land. You can't just drive through here whenever you feel like it. Keep doing this, and I'll have to call the sheriff." She smirked and waved a dismissive hand. "Oh, please. This path has been here forever. The HOA has the right to use it." I raised an eyebrow. "No, it doesn't. I own this land outright, and your HOA bylaws mean nothing to me." Linda leaned closer, her tone dripping with condescension. "Maybe you should just join the HOA. Then there wouldn't be any conflict." "Not happening," I said, walking away. "Stay off my property." I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. Over the next week, Linda not only kept driving through my property, she did it more often, almost like she was daring me to stop her. Every morning, I'd find my gate pushed open, sometimes even broken off its hinges. My pastures were a mess, my fences damaged, and my patience wearing thin. I called the sheriff's office, but when a deputy came out, Linda played innocent. "Oh, I didn't realize it was private land," she said sweetly. "I must have gotten turned around." Without hard evidence, the deputy couldn't do much. That's when I decided enough was enough. If Linda wanted to ignore boundaries, then it was time for her to face the consequences, literally. I reinforced my gate with heavy steel posts sunk deep into the ground, making it impossible to push open with a vehicle. Then, a few feet past the gate, I dug 2 deep ruts into the dirt road and concealed them with a layer of loose soil and old boards. It looked flat and harmless, but if someone drove over it at speed, their tires would sink and their suspension would take a nasty hit. To be safe, I marked the trap clearly on my side of the property with bright flags and cones, making it obvious to anyone who should be there. That way, if Linda chose to ignore the warnings, it was entirely on her. 2 mornings later, I heard the unmistakable sound of an engine revving and tires crunching gravel. I grabbed my phone and ran to the edge of the field just in time to see Linda's SUV tear through the gate like usual, and then wham! The front tires dropped into the hidden ruts, slamming the entire vehicle forward. There was a horrible screech of metal as her undercarriage scraped hard against the ground. The SUV lurched violently, and I heard the unmistakable pop of a tire blowing out. Linda screamed as her once pristine luxury ride came to a dead stop, tilted at an awkward angle. Steam hissed from under the hood. I stood there filming, making sure I captured everything. When Linda saw me, her face went red with rage. "You did this on purpose," she shrieked, scrambling out of the driver's seat. I held up my phone calmly. "You mean you ignored my signs, my warnings, and the law? This is private property. You're trespassing again. And now, you've destroyed your own car doing it." She stomped toward me, but I raised a hand. "Careful, Linda. The sheriff will be here any minute. I called as soon as I heard you coming." Sure enough, within minutes, a deputy pulled up. Linda immediately launched into a dramatic tirade, accusing me of sabotage and demanding I be arrested. The deputy listened patiently, then turned to me. I handed over the video footage, including weeks' worth of trail cam clips showing Linda repeatedly trespassing. I also showed him the flag markers around the trap, proving I'd taken every precaution. After reviewing the evidence, the deputy turned back to Linda, his expression flat. "Ma'am, you've been repeatedly warned to stay off this property. You ignored those warnings, damaged his gate, and now you've damaged your own vehicle. This isn't sabotage. This is the natural consequence of your actions." Linda's jaw dropped. But the HOA has rights." The deputy shook his head. "Not here. This land isn't part of your HOA, and you have zero authority over it. You're lucky he's only pressing trespassing charges." I couldn't resist adding, "and lucky that I didn't send you the bill for my broken fences." Linda sputtered, but there was nothing she could do. The deputy issued her a citation for trespassing and ordered her to leave immediately. A tow truck was called to haul her wrecked SUV out of my trap, and the entire neighborhood gathered to watch. Word spread quickly. By the next day, every HOA member knew what had happened. Linda's credibility was shattered, and no one dared cross my boundary lines again. As for me, I repaired my gate one final time and installed an even stronger lock. From that day on, my land remained peaceful and untouched. Linda never tried to drive through my property again, though every time I saw her limping down the street with a bitter scowl, I couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the best way to deal with an entitled HOA Karen is to let their arrogance drive them straight into their own downfall, literally.